Hey guys, it's Matt and Sarah, and today we're going to be talking about how we plan our trips. So for this video, we're going to be using the example of the Madeira trip and show you everything that we did from the beginning to the end of getting to the island for the entire process of planning it.
We know we've had a lot of people asking us about this process, and we finally decided we're going to make a video on it. So this is going to be a bit in depth, just so you can see from start to finish how we exactly plan our trips out.
So if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and before we get started, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
So the first thing we do is we find locations that we both want to see. So I'll start usually by scrolling through Instagram, searching Madeira, seeing what other people have, and then screenshotting those photos that I think are really cool. A lot of people don't always list the exact location, so you just got to do the research yourself to find where that location is. And then I also search on Google and just see what other different locations are listed on there that may not be on Instagram.
And so sometimes Sarah will say, hey Matt, here's this photo, can you find it for me? And I love doing that, even though it can be super time consuming. And that's where the laptop comes in. So I'm going to take you guys to the screen on here and show you exactly what we do on the laptop on Google Maps. So we're on Google Maps here. This is the island of Madeira, and obviously all of these pins are already pre-marked showing where we visited during our time there. So Sarah might show me a photo of a cool cliff. Say, Matt, hey, can you find where this photo is? It's not listed. Well, I'm going to zoom in over here, and let's just use this cliff for an example. And so I see, oh man, these look like a lot of tall cliffs along here. I wonder what all these points are. And I can either start by selecting them and just seeing what some of the pictures are. Sometimes they don't have many pictures listed, but we'll use this one. This one looks cool, and this was actually one of the spots we went to. So we can click on the photo, check out a couple and go, hey, do we like this enough to want to go to it? Will we have enough time to go to it? It doesn't look like too far of a hike from the parking lot. Let's give it a shot. Well, then I will take the little yellow guy down here, and any of these little blue circles are points you can drag him to. So I'm going to drag him up here and see what this photo looks like. So this is a 360 photo that somebody uploaded to Google Maps, and now it can feel like you're literally there in person. And after looking at this, you can go, yeah, you know what? This looks really, really cool. I wonder if sunrise will be over here. So this is where we take the app PhotoPills. And in PhotoPills, there's a different video that we have on our page explaining what it all is, but to keep it short, you can just pick any point in the world, any date and time in the world, and see what time the sunrise will be, what time the sunset will be, the moonrise, the moonset, and even the Milky Way. So we ended up finding out that, hey, this would be an awesome spot to go check out for sunrise, and that's what we did.
Mm-hmm. So we also use AllTrails. That way we can look up the hike, see how long the distance is. Since when you look on Google Maps, it can be deceiving. So that way we know roughly how long it would actually take us to hike. Then we can know the elevation gain, just so we're not in for a shock. And, you know, if it is a lot of elevation, we're giving ourselves enough time for the hike.
So I'm going to go back to Google Maps and show you guys a couple more things. All right, so we're back on the island here. And so I'm going to show you how to save some of these pins and then show you some images showing how we categorize each day for where we want to visit. So as you can see on here, there's a lot of clusters. There's a cluster up here, one over here. We can put all these in a cluster and all of these. Now keep that in mind, we'll come back to that in a minute. So I'm just going to zoom in on here, acting like I don't know what this island looks like, and go, hey, here's a camera icon. Wonder what this looks like. Alright. So let's say I wanted to go to this spot. After looking at this photo, to me it looks like an overlook. If I want to go to this photo, all I have to do is hit save, and I can pick whatever I want for my list to save it in. So if I say, hey, this is a cool spot, or if I have a Iceland one or New Zealand, I can save any of those spots in that category, and then in that category or list, all of those pins will show up. So if I zoom way out, you can actually see in my cool lists, I've got a whole bunch of pins, Iceland, the US, all over the place. So that's what we use when we're traveling, just to keep things simple, and then we don't have to get confused wondering where things were saved. Mm-hmm. And you can also add notes to it as well. So if you go down to here, you can hit add a note and say, hey, you know what, I want to do a drone photo at this spot at sunrise. Hit done. And there you go. So now when I click on the pin, it'll come up saying, hey, I want to do a drone photo of this spot at sunrise. That way I don't get sidetracked.
So usually when we're planning out our trips, this is the first thing we do is we find our locations and then we pin them on Google Maps. We both try to pin them just in case, something would happen to either of our phones, if offline maps doesn't work, anything like that. And then we would also have an itinerary on Google Docs or something like that as well. But this kind of just helps you to start the process of making your list and how you want to organize your trip.
Here's the screen recording showing all the clusters of places that we wanted to visit by day. So this is for the month of March. So we landed there on March 8th, late at night. I think it was almost midnight. So when we landed in Madeira, we stayed down here in this area. I actually think this pin right here might be the place. And so we said, hey, on the 9th, if the weather's good, let's aim to do everything right here because we can get it out of the way. Our main house that we stayed at was over in this area. So that way we can do this first. If we have some time, we can hit up some of these on the way over to the house. But we had to check in there by 3 p.m. So that didn't leave a whole lot of time in the day. But this ended up working out well for us because we knew this spot here, which is in the mountains, was hit or miss. We might not be able to do it all in one day. So we ended up overlapping it with a couple days just to have as a backup. Now, we ended up moving this around a lot, so just because the 14th was the spot for all of these doesn't mean we ended up doing it on the 14th. If it said, hey, there's going to be rain, maybe that was going to become the 15th or the 16th, or we were pretty flexible then, I guess, with moving things around. But if you want to keep things organized and simple, we highly recommend doing this because it's an easy visual to look at and wonder what you're going to be doing tomorrow or 4 days from now.
And another thing too, in addition to this is, as I mentioned before, we do make a list on Google Docs. That way we have a written sheet just in case we kind of forget, what we're doing. That way we don't have to look at each pin that we have down for, let's say, the 13th. We don't have to look at each of those pins. We already know what we have down. And then we already put down when we're planning what places we want to go for sunrise, what places we want to go for sunset. That way when you're on your trip, you're not doing all this extra work that you shouldn't be doing when you should be out exploring, enjoying your time, anything like that.
So the next 30 seconds here are specifically for photographers or videographers. One thing to also make it simplified is create a mood board or a vision board of things that you want to see there. So if you're scrolling through Instagram, taking screenshots or looking at anything like that, keep those somewhere. Make sure that hey, I definitely want to do this, or I like this angle of this subject, and then change it up to make it your own. So over here, you can see we created a vision board. So we actually watched a couple videos knowing, hey, this is what somebody else had filmed. We like this look of it. We like the style of the angles. So let's try and shoot something similar, but change it up slightly to make it our own. So we went through a couple different things here and ended up creating these as a vision board. So I just titled these different things like landscapes and people, and that way I knew, hey, I wanted to roughly photograph Sarah out here on a cliff edge, or film her out on a cliff edge, or do something with her looking at the sun. And now that's just a guidance thing. You don't have to do it all. We only used maybe half of these. The other half were just a filler just in case. The next step was booking our flights. We went with TAP Airlines, which is the main airline to Portugal. The website was pretty straightforward. We booked our flights there. If you have some flexibility, make sure to try a few different travel dates to see what dates have the best deal. The process was smooth, and once we had our flights locked in, we moved on to the next major part of the plan, finding a place to stay.
For accommodations, we used Booking.com. We wanted something with a good location, a view, and of course a place where we could relax after a long day of exploring. We found this amazing house called the Sunrise House right by the cliffs with a view of the ocean. It was perfect for us, and honestly, it turned out to be one of the best decisions of the trip. Check out our recent YouTube video to see a tour of the house.
Now, we needed a way to get around, so we rented a car through Europcar. Having a car was the key to exploring all of the hidden gems of Madeira that were off the beaten path. If we were to have used Uber instead, it was roughly $40 one way to go from the eastern side of the island to the rental house. Now that would add up quickly.
The rental car process was super easy. Once we landed on Madeira, we picked up our luggage, and it was less than 10 minutes to get to the Europcar desk, go through the process, and pick up our rental vehicle. The whole thing was super smooth and quick, and we were ready to explore.
When we got to the airport in Lisbon, Portugal first, we exchanged some of our US dollars for euros, just to have cash on hand for smaller purchases. But here's the thing, during our whole trip we never ran into issues with places not accepting credit cards. It used to be a bit hit or miss in Madeira, but now as long as you have a major credit card like Visa, you're good to go. It was really convenient.
But it's also nice to have cash on hand too, just in case you do run into issues with your credit card company or anything like that. We hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we hope that it answered your questions as far as how we plan out our trips. If there's anything that we missed or any other questions that you had for us, just leave them below and we'll answer them as soon as we can. Remember to hit that like button, subscribe, and ding that bell. We'll see you guys next time.